name is Jocelyn Medrek, and I'd like to welcome you to our online 5 Love Languages event. We decided to add this event this summer because our Love on the Beach events filled up quickly, and we want everyone to know what the 5 love languages are all about. So before I get to the 5 love languages, I just wanted to mention a little bit about Great Marriages. So if you've never heard of us, you've never been here for an event, our mission is to prepare and strengthen relationships, enrich marriages, and keep families together. So the prepare and strengthen relationships part, we work with singles, dating, engaged, and married couples. We enrich marriages mainly through events like this and our couple-to-couple mentoring program. If you need a little more intense, concentrated help, you can sign up for mentoring. Or if you're about to get married or in a serious relationship, wanting to know if it's the right person, you can also use that mentoring program for that. And then, of course, keeping families together. That's the ultimate goal. Our vision here at Great Marriages is a community of vibrant, strong, joyful, lifelong marriages. And right now, in this time we are living, spending concentrated amount of times with each other, it may not have been so joyful, or maybe for you it was very joyful. Either way, that is our vision, that we can teach you and help you to have that vibrant and strong, joyful, lifelong marriage. So what do we do here at Great Marriages? I mentioned couple-to-couple mentoring. That is $35 for an online assessment, and then we pair you up with one of our mentor couples who will work with you anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks, depending on if you're premarital or having some type of crisis. Monthly events, that's what we're doing right now. We usually offer these in person, but we had to pivot a little bit, and we're trying to offer you some more information online as well. We have workshops. We have some of those coming up in the fall, hopefully in person. Marriage retreat. Our marriage retreat this year had to be canceled because the retreat center is closed through September. So we are offering an event called Ask a Mentor, which was a really popular part of our marriage retreat last year. So you can look for that on our events page. We do corporate lunch and learns for businesses that support us. We have a resource library. When our office is open again to the public, you're welcome to come in and check out any books that we have, or just ask us if you're looking for a certain resource. And then we do Latino programming. So programming should start again when we're able, all in Spanish. We have a wonderful website, great-marriages.org. If you do /events, you're going to get to all those events I was talking about. If you are not friends with us on Facebook or Instagram, I would highly recommend that as well, because we offer some great content on there, very encouraging every single day. So check that out. So what are our goals for this event? Number 1, we want you to learn your own and your spouse or significant other's love language. We want you to learn to keep your love tanks full. We want you to reconnect with each other or stay connected. So if this time, safer at home, has been difficult for you, there's been conflict, we want to try to get you to reconnect and show how you can give and receive love to one another. We also want you to look for the good in each other. That's always really important. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm not a joke person, I'm not a joke teller, so we've got a little video for you by Tim Hawkins, if you've heard of him. He is a comedian, he's very funny. So next up, you're going to get to watch the Tim Hawkins video.
I did the choreography myself. Hey honey, have you gained some weight in your rear end? The dress you wear reminds me of my old girlfriend. And where'd you get those shoes? I think they're pretty lame. Would you stop talking, cause I'm trying to watch the game? If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, these are the things you don't say to your wife. I planned a hunting trip next week on your birthday. I didn't ask you, but I knew it'd be okay. Go make some dinner while I watch this fishing show. I taped it over our old wedding video. If you're a man who've done that, a long and happy life, these are the things you do to you. Solo. Okay. Your cooking is okay, but not like Mother makes. The diamond in the ring I bought you is a fake. Your eyes look puffy, dear. Are you feeling ill? Happy anniversary, I bought you a treadmill. If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, that too, these are the things you don't say to your way. If you're a man who doesn't want to get killed with a knife, these are the things you don't say to your way.
All right, so those are things you never want to say to your spouse. Guys, not to the women, and women, of course, it can go both ways. There's certain things that you should probably not say to your husband as well. So just a funny way, lighthearted, to get us started here. This is what we are going to focus on. So the 5 love languages is a book. I've got one sitting here. It is written by Dr. Gary Chapman, and these languages came out of years of counseling that he did, and he found that these are the 5 things that came up the most with how people give and receive love. So that is how his book came about. We do have several copies of this in our library, so if you are interested in checking one out after the event, you can just let us know. This picture here, that is my husband and I, and you can see there are clouds overhead because I put that there because marriage is work. It's not all roses, it's work. So before we get rolling, I want you to answer 2 questions, and you can pause the video, which I would like you to do after you read these 2 questions. When do you feel most loved? So we know love is a commitment. It's not just a feeling, but it is a feeling. There are times when your spouse or your significant other may do things for you or say things that make you feel loved. So think about that. And then the second question is, how do you give love to others? So think about what you do to make your significant other feel loved, how you think you're doing it. So love languages are all about how you give and how you receive love. So just take a second, pause the video, and then come back when you've had a chance to just talk about that for a couple of minutes. All right, so I hope you have some idea of how you give and receive love after taking a couple minutes to talk about that. Let's go into what are the 5 love languages. So you can see here are the 5: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and receiving gifts. So those are the 5. We will go into what each of them means, of course, but before we do that, we need to figure out what you are. So we're going to do the profile. This was included in your email, so if you did not print it out ahead of time, after I explain how to do it, please pause the video again, print it out, or just answer the questions on a piece of paper as you look at the screen. So you're going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to do this. You're going to pick the best answer for each question. There's 30 questions, front and back side. You'll probably have 2 pages if you print it out at home. Just pick the one that's the most meaningful to you. And then when you're done, on the bottom of the back side, there's a spot to add them all up. But I don't want you to add yours up. I want you to switch profiles with your partner and add theirs up, okay? All right, so here's a picture of what the profile looks like. Front page has the first 15 or 16 questions, and then the back page, and then in that gray bar on the bottom is where you're going to add it up. So I want you to pause, print it out, take the profile, and then we will come back together and talk about this. So you may have multiple languages that are close, or one primary and a secondary. A lot of people have one that's a lot higher than the other love languages, and then a secondary one. Some people have fairly even, where they've got kind of an even number. And that's kind of helpful for the spouse or significant other because those people can receive love in all those ways evenly. There's not one that's a lot higher than the other. So Dr. Chapman, I'm just going to read how he says to interpret your profile score. He says the highest score indicates your primary love language. The highest score is 12. It's not uncommon to have 2 high scores, although one language does have a slight edge for most people. That just means 2 languages are important to you. The lower scores indicate those languages you seldom use to communicate love and probably don't affect you very much on an emotional level. You may have scored more highly on certain love languages than others, but do not dismiss those other love languages as insignificant. Your loved one may express love in those ways, and it will be helpful to you to understand this about him or her. In the same way, you will benefit your spouse or significant other to know your primary love language in order to best express affection for you in ways that you interpret as love. Every time you or he speaks each other's language, you score emotional points with each other. Of course, this isn't a game with a scorecard. The payoff of speaking each other's love language is a greater sense of connection. This translates to better communication, increased understanding, and ultimately improved romance. Okay? So let's get into what do these love languages mean. They're pretty self-explanatory, but let's just go through them. Words of affirmation. So this could be a verbal compliment. You look sharp in that suit. Or you look beautiful in that dress. I appreciate that you fill in the blank. These are people who need encouraging words. You can do it. You're the best at fill in the blank. They're kind words and humble words. Be nice. Make requests, not demands. The bottom line is they feel appreciated. Okay? People who are words people, they need to feel appreciated. Okay? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will always hurt me. If your spouse or significant other is a words person, be careful with the words that you use. Second one, quality time. So this is giving someone your undivided, focused attention. You're giving them your time. You're having quality conversations, you're sharing experiences, you're sharing thoughts, desires, and feelings. And quality activities, so maybe you're experiencing something together and the person feels like you care about them. That's kind of the bottom line with quality time people. They want to feel like your attention is focused on them and that you care about them. Acts of service. Doing things you know your significant other would like you to do. Okay, so it didn't say doing things you want to do for your significant other. It's doing things you know they want you to do. There's a feeling of us. Dr. Rick Marks has a great illustration of us. You are an us when you're putting your partner first. You're doing things they want to do, not necessarily things that you want to do. Very important for acts of service people. You're pleasing them by serving them. That's why it's called acts of service. You're doing things for them. And you're expressing love by doing things. That's the bottom line. Receiving gifts. Gifts are virtual symbols of love. Physical presence can be a gift, especially in the time of crisis. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Okay, so we had a Love on the Beach event, and one of the wives said, sometimes I just buy my husband a Snicker bar, and he's so happy. So it can be as simple as just something you know they like to eat or something you know they like to drink. You could make something. You could pick up a rock and paint on it. You could pick a flower while you're having a walk. Those little gifts mean so much to people who score high and the gifts love language. And then physical touch. So this is important that you learn what your partner perceives as a loving touch. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, and you need to be really sensitive if there was especially some kind of trauma in your partner's past of what they perceive as a loving touch. So make sure you talk to them about that and communicate that. It does not need to be sexual. Can be a hand on the back, a hug, a kiss, just being close. I like my husband to sit close to me on the couch. If we're just sitting in the living room or if we're watching TV, I want him to be right next to me. So once you discover your partner's love languages, you can keep their love tank full on a regular basis. That's the goal here. So what I want you to do next is I want you to pause the video. I want you to take, well, you can take as much time as you want because you're at home. Usually we give about 15 minutes when we do this in the office. And I want you to take those profiles. Now you can go through the questions with each other, discuss what your love language is, maybe how you've been giving or receiving that love. How are you doing? Are you doing well? Is your love tank full right now? Is it half full? Is it completely empty? This should help you, by the way your partner answered those questions, help you to give and receive love in a way that they are going to feel loved. So pause the video and come back in 15 minutes. Okay, so welcome back. I hope that you learned something about each other going through the profile. And what if, here's a question that comes up a lot when we do this in person, what if my loved one's language does not come naturally to me? So maybe you're not a physical touch person, maybe you're not a words person, but your partner is, and that's really difficult for you. So what do you do about it? Well, I am going to tell you what Dr. Chapman says about that. He says, my wife's love language is acts of service. One of the things I do for her regularly as an act of love is to vacuum the floors. Do you think that vacuuming the floors comes naturally to me? My mother used to make me vacuum. All through junior high and high school, I couldn't go play ball on Saturday until I finished vacuuming the entire house. In those days, I said to myself, when I get out of here, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to vacuum houses. I'll get myself a wife to do that. Yes, groan. But I vacuum our house now, and I vacuum it regularly. There's only one reason I vacuum our house: love. You couldn't pay me enough to vacuum a house, but I do it for love. You see, when an action doesn't come naturally to you, it's a greater expression of love. My wife knows that when I vacuum the house, it's nothing but 100% pure, unadulterated love, and I get the credit for the whole thing. Someone says, but Dr. Chapman, that's different. I know my spouse's love language is physical touch, and I'm not a toucher. I never saw my mother and father hug each other. They never hugged me. I'm just not a toucher. What am I going to do? Do you have two hands? Can you put them together? Now imagine that you have a spouse in the middle and pull him or her towards you. I'll bet that if you hug your spouse 3,000 times, it will feel more comfortable. But ultimately, comfort is not the issue. We're talking about love. And love is something you do for someone else, not something you do for yourself. Most of us do many things each day that don't come naturally for us. For some of us, that's getting out of bed in the morning. We go against our feelings and get out of bed. Why? Because we believe there is something worthwhile to do that day. And normally before the day is over, we feel good about having gotten out of bed. Our actions preceded our emotions. The same is true with love. We discover the primary love language of our spouse, and we choose to speak it whether or not it is natural for us. We are not claiming to have warm, excited feelings. We are simply choosing to do it for his or her benefit. We want to meet our spouse's emotional needs, and we reach out to speak their love language. In doing so, their emotional love tank is filled, and chances are they will reciprocate and speak our language. When they do, our emotions return and our love tanks begin to fill. Love is a choice, and either partner can start the process today. So you always hear love is a choice, not a feeling. Well, we believe it's both. It is a choice. The choice is to stay committed. The choice is to stay and work through things. But we want you to feel that loving feeling as well. So if it doesn't come naturally to you, it's kind of a just do it. All right, so we have a little quiz for you now that you've learned a little bit about what the languages are about. What love language would enjoy doing something like kayaking? Answer, quality time. You can get out there, you can just talk to each other, enjoy the scenery. A walk or a hike. I'll give you a second. This can actually be two. You can see they have their arms around each other, so we think it could be physical touch or quality time. Next up, flowers. Kind of an easy one. Answer. Gifts. What about if you got home and the house was clean, the dishes are done, the lawn was mowed? That would be what? Acts of service. Or what if you found a little note on your mirror or a little note tucked in your work bag or your lunch being told that you're appreciated? That would be words of affirmation. So this chart is something else that we emailed to you. You can print this off, you can hang it on your fridge, your bedroom, put it on your mirror. It goes through each of the languages and then how to communicate, what actions to take, and then things to avoid. So that last things to avoid column, that might be actually the most important column that you want to look at. What is someone who has this love language averse to? So take a look at that and take that to heart. All right, so how many of you regularly go on dates? So it's been difficult for the last 3 months to go out and do anything, but people can be creative. You hopefully have been going for walks or bike rides, getting out in nature together, since we haven't really been able to travel. But it's important to, now that you can maybe start going out, get takeout, if you're brave enough, go to restaurants, things like that. It's really important to spend quality time, even if that's not your primary love language. You need to spend time together, especially if you have young children who maybe have been in the house, you've been homeschooling. It's time to spend some time together. So if you do not regularly go on dates, we're going to give you a few ideas on maybe some things that you could do. Before we do that, how to put cold water on a date quickly. These are things to avoid, like in that avoid column, okay? Things like talking about the past, having your cell phone out during your date. You see so many people that just have their phones out while they are on a date, and we just ask that you don't do that. I mean, some of you might have kids with a babysitter, so you could leave it on vibrate or something, but try to put the phone away and try not to talk about the past. Try not to talk about unresolved issues. If you've been waiting for a time to be alone, to hash through something, just do that at another time. Focus on yourselves, focus on the positive when you actually get to go out on a date together. So, how to put together a great date. Keep the love languages in mind. Okay, so now that you know what your spouse's love language is, maybe some of these ideas will resonate with you. So we've got 10 great date ideas. Blue is at the top of the Pfister Hotel. I'm assuming it's open again, but you can wait till it's open later in the summer or the fall. It's a beautiful panoramic view of the Milwaukee lakefront. So if you've never been there, it's a beautiful place to go, and it's not too far away. Here's something you can do, hiking, biking at Terryandry. We have beautiful state parks around here, so take advantage of that. It doesn't cost a thing. Dinner, and you could do some dancing, have a little romance, whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe get some takeout, have a picnic, something like that. If you're a creative person, how about a scavenger hunt? Inside or outside, you can make up clues, make a list of items to find. Sometimes we do this for our kids, like with the Easter baskets or a birthday gift. Why not do it for each other? And if your spouse came out as a gift person, this would be a great place at the very end to give them a little something that they would appreciate. Sporting events, I'm not sure how many of these we're going to have. I know the Sheboygan A's is going to start to have games for season ticket holders soon. As far as professional sports, this might have to be on hold till later in the year or next year, but it's something that my husband and I enjoy doing together when we can. Concerts or festivals, as we all know, Summerfest is canceled this year, but there are going to be some local concert series. I know Plymouth is having one, so check those things out online and see if you could maybe find a concert or something that you could attend here locally. And how about cooking? Cooking a meal together. You can plan the menu, go shopping together, and then cook it and enjoy it together. Traveling is open now. If you this is something you want to do, get away for a weekend. We went up to bed and breakfast for our anniversary first weekend in June. It was just great to get away. We took takeout, we enjoyed the pool, took walks, things like that. There's always things you can do, but sometimes it's nice to just get away from home, especially if you have children at home. And of course, Great Marriages events. We always love when people use our events to keep them connected. So as I mentioned before, you can go to great-marriages.org/events and see what's coming up after this one. So, what are your ideas? Think about, and I'm going to have you pause again, think about your most memorable date ever. What did you do on that date? Why do you consider this one of your best dates? And what were you thinking or feeling? I think if you think about this for a minute, pause the video and talk about it, share with each other, that it might just actually make you feel closer just by talking about it. The pictures on this slide are of my husband and I when we went, I believe this was from our honeymoon, on Marco Island in Florida. We've gone back every year since our honeymoon, so I'm not sure exactly which year it was, but the boat is called the Marco Princess, and it's a dinner cruise, and it's a sunset dinner cruise, so it was really fun. That was a great memory. And then the other two were on this little Hobie Cat sailboat that we rent every year and go out in the ocean. And a couple of times dolphins went right under our boat, so it's just really good memories and just makes you feel good about those things that you did together. So just take a moment, pause the video, and when you're done talking about your most memorable date, then come on back and we'll finish up. All right, so the 10th and final date memorable idea, is to write a love letter. We also included the paper to do this that we usually pass out when you're here at the office, so we want you to practice writing a love letter. Some people don't ever get a love letter their entire lives. People have come to this event and been so appreciative that we make you do this. Now you're not here, so we can't really make you, but I hope that you will take the time to do this at home and write a love letter to your spouse or your significant other. So just take some time. You're at home, you can take as much time as you need, but don't say, oh, let's do this later. Actually sit down, separate, maybe go to different ends of the table or the couch, wherever you are, and write something. It could be a couple sentences, it could be a whole page. That's completely up to you. And then if you have an envelope, you could seal it in there and open it later, or you can just exchange and maybe read them right now. So just take a few minutes. We also have an example of how to write a love letter that we attach to the email. So if you have no clue what to do, this is not your thing, then use that guide, because that's really going to help you, and I'm guessing that your partner will really appreciate the time and effort that you put into this. So just pause the video again, take a few minutes to write that letter. All right, to finish up, I wanted to give you a few other resources that we love here at Great Marriages. One is Love and Respect by Emerson and Sarah Egrich. It's all about how generally women need love, men need respect, and how do you show love and respect to one another. We have the books, we have the DVDs, and it's a great resource for you. Mark Gungor, of course, we love Mark Gungor, anything Mark Gungor. He's got tons of books out. He just had a new book called Treat 'Em Like Monkeys, which if you have children, I would highly recommend going to markgungor.com and purchasing that book. But he also has what's called the flag page and a book that goes with it called Becoming Compatible. And the flag page is more of a what motivates you. And it was very eye-opening when my husband and I first did this to each other to see what he chose for his flag. So that's something you can do at flagpage.com. We do have books here at the office that we could give you. We have a lot of the Becoming Compatible books. So if you want to purchase a flag page and let me know if you need a book, please do so. Shanti Feldhahn, love her books. Very short, simple. She's a researcher. So she's got books like For Women Only, For Men Only, For Teens Only, Secrets to Highly Successful Marriages. We have all of these in our library as well. Of course, blended families, near and dear to my heart because I am in a blended family. We have a series called Restored and Remarried. We have their DVD series, and then any of Ron Deal's books. I think we have just about all of them now. the Smart Step Family, Smart Step Mom, Smart Step Dad, Creating a Healthy Stepping, all kinds of books by Ron Deal. So if you're interested and you're in a blended family, please let us know and we can get that book checked out for you. As I mentioned, we have a mentoring program, couple-to-couple mentoring program. If you are interested in that, if you're struggling right now, or if you're a premarital couple and you want to get some tools and skills ready for when you do get married, please call us at 920-783-6142 and we will get the ball rolling on the mentoring program. Right now we do have a waiting list, so if you are interested in mentoring, the sooner you call, the sooner you're going to get on that list for a mentor couple. The first step is taking an online assessment. The only cost is $35 through Prepare and Enrich. As you see on your screen, that's our curriculum provider. And there's some quotes on there of people who have gone through the mentoring program and what it has meant to them. It's a wonderful program. If you're premarital or if you're experiencing a time of struggle or crisis, please call us and we can help you. I'm going to end with a little video. It's called Love Like Crazy. Play the video, enjoy it, hold hands if you're physical touch while you're watching the video, and it's kind of our wish for you that you will love each other like crazy.
They called them crazy when they started out. Said 17's too young to know what love's about. They've been together 58 years now. That's crazy. He brought home 67 bucks a week. Bought a little 2-bedroom house on Maple Street, where she blessed him with 6 more mouths to feed. That's crazy. Just ask him how he did it. He'll say pull up a seat. It'll only take a minute to tell you everything. Be your best friend, tell the truth, and overuse I love you. Go to work, do your best, don't outsmart your common sense. Never let your and love like crazy. They called him crazy when he quit his job. They said them home computers, boy, they'll never take off. Well, he sold his one-man shop to Microsoft, and they paid like crazy. Just ask him how he made it. He'll tell you faith and sweat, and the heart of a faithful woman who'll never let him forget. Be your best friend, tell the truth, and overuse I love you. Go to work, do your best, don't outsmart your common sense. Never let your praying knees get lazy. And love like crazy. Always treat your woman like a lady. Never get too old to call her baby. Never let your praying knees get lazy. And love like crazy. They called him crazy when they started out. They've been together 58 years now. Ain't that crazy?
So So to end with, I hope that you learned your love language. I hope that you learned your spouse or significant other's love language, and now that you will put them into practice. I would highly recommend ordering the book or giving us a call if you want to check the book out. It goes into way more detail than I just kind of skimmed through what each of them were. Let us know if you want to check that book out. When you registered, there was an option to give $5 to help great marriages. If you didn't take that option, but you feel like we've helped you, like we've been of value to you, I would encourage you to go to great-marriages.org/donate. We operate solely on the generosity of our community. So we appreciate any donations you can give to help us to keep offering events like this online and, of course, in person when we can do that again. So we will be emailing you an evaluation. They're anonymous. We would love it if you filled it out. Let us know how you like these online events, what we could do better, what you would like to see more of or less of. We would really appreciate it if you could fill out that evaluation. So again, we hope you love like crazy. We hope you enjoyed the event and hope to see you soon in person.